It's Wednesdays. Hello and welcome to yet another episode of Wednesdays with Woody, where we interrupt your regular Wednesday to bring you this hot ass mess of a show. We will be discussing, well, everything trending and topical. If you haven't guessed it yet, I'm your host, Woody Woods, and this week, your boy's thriving. On this week's episode, we catch up on life since the last podcast aired, discuss gay weddings and interracial relationships, and finally amuse ourselves with what's been happening in pop culture, from Britney Spears' live dancing to Kourtney Kardashian's group chat saga and NSYNC dropping a new track. Be sure to subscribe to the podcast wherever you listen to podcasts and follow at I'm Woody Woods on Instagram, Threads, and Twitter. We're back. Hello. Oh my goodness, it's been forever. It's been forever. It's been months. I think the last podcast aired in late April. Yeah, and since then I disappeared, and I'm so sorry about that. It really was not my intention. But a lot has been happening in my life on the personal front, from, resigning from my old job, to getting a new job, to planning this wedding, to basically taking a complete break from many areas of my life, not just the podcast. I think I put my book on the back burner. I put a lot of the things I really wanted to have accomplished this year. I just said pause. I need to refocus, recenter myself, reimagine what the hell am I doing with this life journey. Have I done any of that in the nearly 6, maybe 4 or 5 months that I have put a pause on everything? I've done nothing. I've just been relaxing and recuperating, and I think that's also equally important and equally fair. I mean, it was really getting kind of hectic there in April. There was just a lot going on. There was just a lot going on. I really can't even explain whether it was a specific thing or a number of things. It's just that there was a lot going on, and I needed to just take a break from everything, and I'm so grateful I did. Yes, I have not revisited, not reimagined. I've done nothing except just relax and primarily think about what I wanted to do in these different areas, or these creative outlets that I've created, such as the podcast, such as the writing of my book. I just wanted to think about those projects in their singular, just to think about them and to really try to envision what I wanted them to become or what I wanted them to do. Subsequently, I've just obviously now decided to dive right back into everything without really giving much thought to how I'm going to manage it all. But I'm pretty sure I'll be fine, Yeah, I'm pretty sure I'll be fine. I'll survive. And while on this hiatus, so many interesting and really exciting things happened. The Barbie movie came out, as well as the Oppenheimer movie. I haven't watched the Oppenheimer movie yet, but I have caught up on the Barbie movie. That was really interesting, really insightful. Definitely not a kiddies movie. Definitely for adults. Challenge the patriarchy. We always need to keep that happening and going. Pride Month happened. That was really beautiful to see. Pride for me is always such a beautiful moment to observe, just to observe and entrench yourself in gay culture, and learn, because you can never learn enough. What else? Nothing on the personal front. On the personal front, it's just been primarily just getting into my new role at this new company, or working hard, trying to stay afloat, trying to keep it together and not fall to pieces. Lord knows I'm just trying. while on the topic of the Barbie movie, I don't really understand what all the fuss was around that movie. I think at one stage when I was just scrolling through, I don't know if it was Instagram or Twitter or Threads or wherever I was scrolling through, there was just a lot of commotion around it, and I said to myself, oh my gosh, this is actually perfect marketing in terms of getting this movie out as far as possible. Like, I don't know, maybe it was just on my socials, but everyone was busy talking about this movie. Everyone was like, oh, don't watch it, and really that just amped up the intrigue to watch it. Sometimes I wonder if we as consumers know that we're always being played by the machines of capitalism. They really are. They really have us like at each other's throats and necks for no apparent reason except to make a profit at the end of the day. But it was a really, really, really good it was a good marketing strategy, I must say. It really worked out really, really well for everyone, I think. So yeah, that's basically what's been happening. I'm such a bored, like, really. My attention and my focus this year has really primarily gone to new job and wedding. Like, new job and wedding every day, rinse and repeat. It's becoming taxing, it's becoming boring, it's becoming mundane, but I'm almost at the stretch line because hey, we only have like 2 months before me and Ryan tie the knot, which I'm really excited about. So yeah, that is what has been happening. We are all caught up, I think. My word. You know, no one ever really tells you like the many different types of emotions that you're gonna go through when you're planning a wedding. You know, obviously social media is just a facade and nothing's absolutely real there, and no one should actually be buying anything on those platforms and taking it as, I don't know, as fact. Always do your research, kids. But like, no one really tells you about the emotions that you're going to go through when you're planning a wedding. I mean, just the other day a couple of weeks back, in fact, we were getting ready to sign our prenup, and in my mind, I'm like, okay, you know what, actually, Woody, you are clear, you're focused, you just know that you need to go through these steps and everything will be sorted and will be done and will be fine and everything will be great. But just before we were signing like this anti-nuptial in South Africa and prenup in the States, I don't know if it's in the rest of the world actually also, whatever. Just before I was due to sign this thing, so many things were just racing through my mind about like, okay, actually this is it, like, you know, it's one thing to be official in the eyes of your friends and your family and the people who you surround yourself and you engage with on a daily basis, but like from a legal perspective, you are literally saying to the world like, hey, this is my person, this is where I am claiming, this is what I'm claiming this person, they're mine. That was a bit scary for me. It wasn't touch and go. It was just really, really scary for me to realize the seriousness of the matter. And the fact that now, you know, I really need to get many other areas of my life in check and geared towards being someone's husband. Oh gosh. I'm not freaking out. It just feels weird right now. I'm sure I'll get used to it in a couple of years. Just trying to sort out your life so that you know actually there's someone who you're actually responsible to or for in this life you need to take care of. That's been really interesting in terms of wedding planning. And it's also allowed me to really think about being a same-sex relationship in this world, and specifically around these ceremonies or these moments or these milestones in your life that you really had never thought about. I saw a TikTok or a reel about LGBTQIA plus people, and it basically said that, you know what, when your straight counterparts were in their youth planning their lives as a LGBTQIA plus identifying person, you weren't doing that. Your mind was primarily focused on being safe and keeping safe. So you really didn't think about specific milestones in your life and how you would have to interact and engage with those as you grew up. So coming to planning this wedding, I mean, that's a whole other topic by itself, which I'm sure I'll get back to at some point. But coming to planning this wedding and just thinking about that, I really had no I really wasn't planning on getting married. I think if you ask my friends very early on in university, I think there was a moment in my life where I was literally like, I'm just going to live by myself and I'm just going to be by myself. Obviously, at that time, I was still very much closeted. But you find someone one day and then all of a sudden you're on a roller coaster of love that you really can't get off of, even though you're just like, this is not what I planned, but okay, we're on this roller coaster, let's go. So it's been really interesting to try and find, I don't know, some inspiration or some guidance or some direction when, you're planning your own wedding, especially for anyone in a same-sex relationship. And the resources out there in the world are just so limited. They're so limited. It's actually quite, it's disappointing. I mean, it's disappointing on one hand, but on the other hand, you realize that due to the history of LGBTQIA plus people across the world, there's not going to be much resources out there when it comes to planning a wedding. I mean, in heterosexual relationships, you have the throwing of the bouquet, the little games that they play, the garter, the whatever the case might be, the first dance, and not that all of these haven't been transferred or translated into a same-sex relationship wedding, but many of the other, like throwing of the bouquet, like what are we gonna do? There is no bouquet to throw, Ryan has joked around and said that maybe we can just get a bouquet and throw it, and I'm just like, whack. I don't want to throw a bouquet. Like, it just doesn't make any logical sense. It doesn't speak to the history of LGBTQIA plus people. It doesn't speak to, and not that I'm trying to turn my wedding into a lesson. No. It definitely is a celebration of us and our love and who we are as human beings, but you can't really shy away from the fact that you're a same-sex relationship. There is a different angle, there is a different history that does come in and does interplay with just your personal life. So that's been really interesting. I've been doing some research. I've been scrolling through Pinterest and Instagram pages, and it's one thing to find a same-sex relationship or same-sex partners on Instagram and Facebook. It's another thing to find interracial ones who you can just look at and be like, okay, I can see how they did it, and maybe I can follow the same kind of thought or train process or whatever the case might be. But every relationship is unique and different in its own right. So that's been very interesting. It's also been eye-opening to see how very few same-sex gay partners, even lesbians, I think, even lesbian ones, how they post about their relationships, how they post about their wedding days and their marriages and I don't know, it's been very interesting. Albeit so much has changed over the last 10-15 years when it comes to LGBTQIA plus people rights in terms of being legalized. Not everywhere, but I'm fortunate enough in South Africa. But it's, even with all of this time, 15 years is actually not a long time, but anyway, even with all of this time, there just is not enough resources. It's wild. It's really, really wild. It's really, really wild. But obviously then it does obviously bring up the questions about looking into LGBTQIA plus history and how far that has progressed. I don't know. Maybe we're just not ready to get married, but maybe it's got nothing to do with marriage. It's just got to do with the fact that only now we're beginning to, I don't want to say hit those milestones, but some of us are able to live in a world where we can visualize just past the moment of survival. You know, it's always very interesting for me to see LGBTQIA plus people in the workplace not having to deal with a gay ceiling. LGBTQIA plus people in families and households that are inviting and accepting. These things are all still relatively new. Watching LGBTQIA plus people handhold in same-sex relationships, handhold in the mall, kiss in the daylight. These things are still, they seem as though they've been around for years and years and years and years and years. And yes, they have for our straight counterparts, but I suppose for people who are in same-sex relationships or people who have same-sex attraction, it's all fairly new. Like, I suppose everyone is just trying to figure it out as they go along. But yeah, it's been really hard to find any inspiration on that front. We're just really winging it. We're just trying to do the things that we like to do, which isn't, I don't know. I say that if you really want to understand I now say, if you really want to get an insight into your partner, like especially if you guys are planning the wedding together, plan a wedding. It really gives you a lot of insight and a lot of appreciation. I don't think I've been more appreciative of Ryan. I mean, I love him to bits and pieces, but through this process, I've actually just, it's been beautiful to observe. I mean, the things that you know about your partner, it's not like they disappear, it's just that they really amplify themselves through this process. I'm surprised I haven't run off. I really am, and as many may or may not know, obviously I'm in an interracial relationship, so there's also navigating that, which, in fact, it's really not a navigation for me. For me, it's actually just a breeze because I didn't grow up in like a really staunch or cultural household. We were very fluid in terms of our, yeah, we were very fluid and in fact fine. We were highly westernized. Let's be frank about that one. We were highly westernized, so many of our views are just Western views. Obviously there is some cultural aspects here and there, but they're not littered all over the place. So it was very easy for me just to find myself in an interracial relationship. Yeah, that's not what I wanted to say, but hold on. But when it comes to interracial relationships, I watched a really interesting video that had gone viral where it's this couple who are sitting in a white room, or sitting in a room in fact, and they're asking each other questions. And one of the questions that they're in an interracial relationship, which the black partner was then asked to ask his white partner was, would you ever introduce me to your family? And the white guy says, hell no. Off the bat, hell no. He's not dilly-dallying with his answer. He's being completely honest. He's being completely frank. And he goes on to explain why he wouldn't introduce his partner to his family, due to how they're not accepting of him liking, or dating, in fact, not even liking, dating people who are outside of a specific racial profile, which is white in this case. That was interesting to watch. It did take me a little bit back to the very early stages of my relationship with Ryan, where I was busy thinking about like, yeah, how's this gonna work out? Especially in a South African context. obviously I was very, very fortunate and very, very lucky that on both sides, in fact we were both very lucky, that on both sides there wasn't any animosity or any, I don't know, any serious racial tension that either one of us experienced. At least I hope for Ryan. For myself, there really wasn't anything that I experienced except love and acceptance and just learning, yeah, as you would do with any new person who comes into your life. You just want to learn them and just understand them and understand where they're from. But this couple over here, I was like, oh my word. And when I went into the comments, because we love the comments, when I went into the comments, it was very interesting to see how people were discussing this specific video. A lot of people would have been like, this is just a hard pass for me. If I can't be introduced to your family, I don't understand why we would even be dating. It was kind of a little bit brutal, to be honest with you, in terms of being very judgmental towards the white guy. And that was weird for me, because when I was watching this video, I was like, oh, thank goodness that you are aware enough that you would not want to put me as a black body in a space where it can be quite volatile, of an experience for me to undergo. It's heartbreaking, but thank goodness that he was actually just aware enough to be like, hell no, I'm not going to introduce you to my family. They're way too racist. And that wasn't necessarily the, not everyone was as nonchalant about it as I am right now in the comments. A lot of people were just like, no, it's a bit awkward that I can never meet your family. I get it, but in this life, you really don't decide, or you really don't get to decide. In fact, you do. Let's not say that you don't get to decide. You do. You do get to decide who you fall in love with, and some people are really particular about their preferences, and that's fine. I have no problem if you've got a specific preference, or if you generally only date black men, or you generally only date white men. It's just that I really thought that he was taking the high road and saying there's no need, because yes, they're my family, and no one gets to choose their family. Number one, you don't get to choose the family who you're born into. You might have crappy parents, but they're your crappy parents. No one else has to deal with their crap but you. They're yours, and you've got to deal with them. And to be just aware enough to be like, actually, I don't want to bring you into a situation where you're going to be berated or viewed in a specific light, whatever the case might be. I really just want to keep our bubble as pure and as full of light and love as possible. I think that's a beautiful way of looking at your interracial relationship and just being able to protect it. I think it becomes more so important the longer your relationship with an individual develops. Yeah, I think the word is develops. I think it becomes more so important that you are able to have that specific viewpoint and lens and around the importance of being able to defend and protect your partner against the outside world and what might be happening out there, because you're a team, at least I'm learning. You're a team. You're in this together. You're going to be in this together for a really long time. So might as well protect each other from the get-go and not beat around the bush. I also think that we also all need to just check ourselves. Sometimes we live in little bubbles where we think that our experience of the world is the same experience that everyone else is having, which is, it's just not the case, Just because you are close with your family and you guys share everything together and you guys, I don't know, go out to dinner with each other every single Friday or whatever the case might be, it doesn't necessarily mean that your partner's family is exactly the same. They might just be a complete bag of assholes. And you don't know what you're going to get. And obviously, it might feel like you are, you're being robbed of something. But you know what? I don't know. In 2023, I'm just like, we don't have time to go backwards. We really don't have time to go backwards. We really need to move forwards. We really need to progress in terms of our viewpoints and how we interact with each other and how we grow from each other. I mean, I don't know everything about LGBTQIA plus people and our history. I always find myself learning and attempting to learn every other day from the experiences of others, from history itself. So it's really important where the lens through which I look at life is not the lens through which everyone else looks at life. We're not all equal on the playground. We each come with our bags of trauma and our experiences from life. And I think it's really important to be able to know your own bag and to either protect your loved ones from harm, should your bag or your history or your experiences or whatever the case, your family in this case, be an issue, especially if you want to build like a really strong relationship. Sometimes you just don't need everyone around you. You have a chosen family, go to your chosen family, your real family. If they're not doing it for you, they're not doing it for you. I'm obviously being way too nonchalant around that experience because I can only imagine how rough that would be to have to really just not have access or be around the people who raised you or grew up with you. I really know that can be a traumatic experience for many people. So much has been happening in the pop culture sphere over the last week. When I say I've been resting, I genuinely mean I've been resting. I did not even know the Kardashians were back with another season. I remember waking up on Friday morning and watching this video of Kim and Courtney just having this really, this crazy conversation around Kim being selfish and I watched this thing and I was like, oh my gosh, when did this happen last season? When did these people have this conversation? I'm pretty sure I would have watched this. I would have seen it. No, I hadn't. It's a new season. So the Kardashians are back. I think I'm gonna watch an episode tonight just to see. I don't even know why I do this to myself every single time the Kardashians bring out something new. It's just a no for me. It should definitely just always be a no. It's nothing new, always staged, and it feels really inauthentic. Completely inauthentic. But they've done a good job. They've made their successes, or they're still making their successes, whatever the case might be. And for that and that reason alone, I suppose is why I keep watching, because I'm always intrigued as to how are you able to continuously keep yourself relevant when in 2023 everyone can be distracted by just about anything, and yet for whatever reason your fan base still keeps following you, still keeps joining in, still keeps, interacting with you. I think they've got a really good recipe. So I'll definitely be, tuning into that and watching that. Something I did watch during my break was, and just like that, I really enjoyed, and just like that, the second season. I just want to say that it was a really good season. If you haven't watched the last two seasons of And Just Like That, I suggest you do. It's funny, it's really nice to see what they've done with the characters, how they've grown, how they've changed. There's only one character who I don't care about at all, because I don't think she's grown at all. I think that she's the worst character, and if you haven't guessed it, it's definitely Carrie Bradshaw. No. I mean, being a lover of the first Sex and the City series and just watching all the other characters, I mean, fundamentally, none of them have changed. They're still the exact same people that they were in their 30s and early 40s that they now are in their 50s and 60s, I think. Nothing has changed with them. They're still doing the same clownery. Just a new era. But with Carrie in particular, it's just, there's just no growth, not to spoil anything for anyone who hasn't watched. But you can't just be flip-flopping between men like that. It's just crass. It's just wrong, especially if you put them through roller coasters. I really am hoping that the writers of the show do a better job in season 3, because no, I can't deal with Carrie's antics anymore. She needs to get herself right and correct. That's all I gotta say about that. I almost just don't want to get into Britney and discussing the fake knife dance that she did this past week. Like, like, I get it that she gave us an explanation and that it seemed like it was just a practical explanation. Actually, I was just practicing, I was just doing some dance moves from a performance that I liked from Shakira, with these fake knives from the store. These knives aren't real, they're fake. She lets us know, but it's just too much. It's just too much, especially because she's just going through a roller coaster of a moment in her life. I suppose that she's always been going through roller coasters. Yeah, she has always been going through roller coasters. When you just look back at Britney's life, you're just like, oh my gosh. I feel really, not pity. Pity's not the word. I feel for her. Yeah, I feel for her. I think that she has a lot going on. I think that she's a talented woman. But I think that there's just so much going on in her life. And that's that on that, actually. I can't say anymore. All I know is that when I just saw the videos of the knives and the dancing, I was like, what the hell is going on here? And to be honest with you, I didn't even bother going into the comments. I just politely kept scrolling, because there's a lot going on, you know. There's a lot going on. She's going through a divorce again. She just can't seem to catch a break, and I hope that she is able to catch a break real soon, because I think that she deserves that. I think that we all deserve to catch a break and catch our lives, to just take a pause and just relax, whenever we can. I think it's important. So like I said, that's that on that. Alright, I can't believe that we've come to the end of today's episode. It's been great. It's been great recording this. It's great to be back. I'm promising to hopefully not go on a hiatus, and to really ride out the remainder of the year by recording these episodes on a weekly basis. I don't know what I'm going to do around my wedding, but we'll see when we get there. And I hope I'm not going to turn into one of those people who's like, oh, you know, I'm getting married, my wedding, all the time, every week. No, I don't want to be those people. I just want to be a normal human being. But yeah, thanks guys for tuning in, for listening, for lending me your ears. I'm really appreciative and I'm really grateful. You know, rate this podcast. Let me know what you think. Reach out to me at I am Woody Woods on social media, on Instagram, Threads, Twitter. Just reach out to me. Let me know what you think. I can't wait to hear from you guys. And until next week, when we'll be discussing Lord knows what. But I'm sure there'll be a topic that has been trending over this last week that we need to delve into and have a discussion about. So until then, adios.